Hey everybody, Jeppy here, and have you ever wanted to vend at a Pokemon card convention before? Say a Collecticon, or a card party, or even any local show around you. If you've never vended before, this is the video for you because I'm going to break down everything you're going to need from a necessity standpoint, the bare minimum. These are the things you need to have if you're going to start vending. The nice to haves, you know, the stuff where maybe you want to spend a little bit of extra money to elevate your experience, or you've done a couple shows and you wanted to get some higher quality or nice to have equipment. And then at the end of the video, we're going to set aside some time if you wanted to make content around vending, like a vendor POV, all the equipment you're going to need, all the equipment that I have that you know, I can vet for and say that it works well, you know, like a camera, mic, batteries, whatever. So that'll be at the end of the video. So we're going to start off the video with the bare necessities, you know, like these cases, for example. But before we even get to that, we need to determine how long is our table going to be. A lot of, you know, whoever is, you know, accepting vendors or dealing with vendors at these conventions, they're going to ask you when you sign up for them how many tables you want, the price of the tables, and how long the tables are. You need to see how long the table is, because this table that I have right here that I'm using as the example in the video is 4.5 feet long, but the most common lengths of tables I've seen at vending shows are either going to be 6 feet or 8 feet. This vending show that I'm going to on Saturday this weekend is going to be 8 feet long. So yes, pardon the mess, I'm in the middle of moving things, but so as we can see, I have the cases on this table that I elevated up. It's about 4.5 feet long, but with the tape measure, you can see how long the table is going to be, and we're right at 8 feet right here. So as you can see, if I stand right here, I have so much more space that I can use to you know, for whatever. If you were 6 feet, you may have to take these, you know, we're gonna get into the specific cases that I got, but you may have to take these and kind of like flip them, you know, long ways and, you know, and reorient all your stuff, you know, flip this again long ways, that way you have like a binder in the middle or something on the side. But I'm pretty lucky that this show I'm going to is 8 feet. So I have plenty of room to have my two cases, you know, spaced out like this, and I'm gonna have like a binder or two over here, and maybe some of the sealed product. We're gonna get into this shelf in a little bit as well on a nice to have section. But yeah, first thing you need to do is determine how long the tables are going to be. Then once you have that, you can determine how you want to lay out your table. For me, when I go to this show on the weekend, I'm going to use two of these Latuo card show display cases, the XL version. Every item that I'm going to list in the video today is going to be linked down below. These are really nice cases, and I'll tell you why. I really like how you could put up the case and it stays up on its own. Pardon the glare from the light. But you know, when you go to shows and when you are constantly lifting the tops, you know, over and over and over again, just having the ability to have that up as you're like handing a card or handing a sealed product to someone as they're checking it out, and then once they hand it back to you, if they want it, you know, something, just put it back down. So it's great. It's pretty deep. I like the felt that it has on the bottom. As you can see, maybe not on the camera, but I have a booster box sitting in here, and the booster box is a little tight, but you can have a couple like mini tins set up in there. You can have like, I have a stack of like 10 Evolving Skies packs in there, you know, stacked up. So it's pretty deep. So there's a lot of room there. The second thing that's an absolute necessity is you're going to have to sticker your cards. So what price are you going to have with them? So one of the ones that I picked up, I like these ones the best. I have another set of 6 stickers that I don't really like. These are the Chroma Label 3/4 inch removable stickers. They don't leave a residue at all on the, you know, if you're putting it on a top loader or a PSA slab. I absolutely hate it, and I'm sure you guys know as well when you go to shows, it's like the worst thing ever when you get a slab or something, you have to peel that stupid sticker off and it leaves a residue. That doesn't happen with these ones. They're really nice, and yeah, we don't want to leave residue on cards that we're selling to people. The second set of stickers that I don't necessarily like are gonna be, and I don't know if I want to recommend these ones just yet, but that's an option. The Cherry Tree Company 2,000 piece sticker set. It's like if you were to, you know, use it for a folder or a little organizer or something. They kind of peel off. I'll show examples with the B-roll footage. The reason why I don't really like these ones so much is one reason. It's I don't think they pop as much. Like for whatever reason, the marker, like the Sharpie, doesn't like pop as much on them, and they're a little harder to see. They're not as flashy. I do like the, you know, the various colors, but maybe I just need to find like maybe a silver marker or some type of marker that pops better, because I don't know, they just look a little bland. I don't know, maybe you guys also agree. Maybe I'm just a loser, but that's, I don't know. I like the chroma stickers better, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see. I haven't used these stickers yet, you know, at a show. I'll see what people think. The next thing you're gonna need is, of course, going to be top loaders. You know, you don't want your, you know, $80, $100+ cards sitting in penny sleeves and you're handing those out to people. People are gonna look at you like you're crazy. Top loaders, want to make sure your cards are protected, to make sure that the condition you sell them at is a condition that, you know, you brought the cards to the convention for. And the last thing you're going to need is just penny sleeves. I'm looking around, I can't find any right here. I mean, you know, whatever. Penny sleeves for your cards. I've just a Salamence VMAX over here. You want to make sure you're protecting them. You know, you don't want anyone to come by, and if it's a card that's, you know, even, you know, a couple of dollars or more, if it's not in the penny sleeves, people are going to look at you like you're crazy, and you don't want to be that vendor. Oh yeah, last thing for the necessity is you're going to need a Sharpie marker, because if you take in trades and you're like, oh my god, I just got this amazing freaking like bubble Mew now that this person traded in for my amazing, you know, Evolving Skies booster box that I'm selling, which I'm not, but if I was, that'd be fantastic. You're gonna want a Sharpie, that way you can price, you know, oh, bring the stickers as well. Make sure you bring the stickers to the show, because if you are taking in trades and someone gives you something that you want to flip and sell immediately, you know, at the show, you're gonna have to sticker it and, you know, write down the price. So yes, make sure you bring Sharpie. Oh, one last thing, make sure your phone is completely charged. You are going to be relying on your phone for comps, for prices, for more recent solds of cards, to, you know, if anyone's negotiating with you, that way you can make sure, like, you know, level with the person on the value of the card, and then also where you are willing to make a deal if you do want to make a deal, what percentage. So you're gonna need, you know, like, make sure your phone is completely charged, all right? So yeah, necessity. So really guys, those are the only things that you need for the absolute necessities. You need your cases, right? Because you don't want people coming up just taking cards willy-nilly and stealing stuff really easily if you're just setting it out on the table. You need to see how long of a table. You know, you get your stickers, penny sleeves, top loaders. That's pretty much the only, maybe I'm missing maybe something, but really you could start vending with just that. Literally, you could just start vending with that. Now we're gonna move on to the nice to haves. These are things where it's gonna elevate your experience of vending a little bit more, whether it's for you or for the buyer. And the first nice to have that I'm going to put in is going to be the HDX 5-tier shelf, specifically the 36-inch by 18-inch by 74-inch. Again, pardon my mess, I apologize. Hey, here's a little bit of the collection, but I love this shelf, and I only have 4 of the things on so far. So I'm about 6 foot, and if I'm holding out my arm about a shoulder length right here, it's about this high. So I think any higher and you're getting into like tipping hazards at these conventions. So I think this is great. I don't plan on bringing a ton of sealeds to this show. The last one is going to be over there. Hi, Bob Ross. So yeah, these are nice. I think I got it for like $60. It's plastic. It is, oh my God, I almost knocked it all over. It's plastic, you know, it's not heavy. This literally took me like less than 5 minutes to put together for the very first time. So it's really easy to get get down together. And honestly, this is a really nice shelf for the price. And if you do plan on bringing sealed, you know, you don't want it sitting out on the table. You know, you've seen videos of people stealing like Evolving Skies booster boxes. So you're gonna either want like your high ticket stuff to be inside, you know, your stuff like this, or behind you, you know, on a shelf. I think that's gonna be the best. The next thing that I really appreciate as a nice to have is gonna be some type of wagon. I'll put the one that this is on screen. This is very lightweight. You can move it around and nice and easily. It's foldable, collapsible, and it can hold like a tote or something. And, you know, obviously you still have to make a couple of trips from the car to the show, but, you know, you could load up a couple of these and maybe some sealed or a tote in there, and then bang, get that into the show, come back out for the rest of your stuff. I'm telling you, it's not a necessity. You know, you don't need a wagon, but it is very nice to have if you're going to be walking back and forth from the car, you know, to the table. Well, maybe you're at the back of the convention. Like, that would suck. So, you know, a wagon, nice to have. And the next thing is actually going to be these Denavio things, how you say it, ETB covers. And literally all they are just plastic covers that you know, unfold and put an ETB in here. These are nice to haves because when you are transporting, you know, sealed products that rely on keeping those seams, you know, and the plastic wrap completely sealed for like the maximum amount of value, you know, one little rip and you're gonna have someone be like, can you lower down the price for that? I totally get it. I'm a sealed collector as well, so I get it. So these are really cheap. I forget how much I paid for them, but they were super cheap. You know, they have a film on them, so if you look at them, you know, if you're unboxing them and you're like, oh my God, they look so bad in there, there's a film. You gotta take the film off all of the sides and then just throw the ETBs in there. You know, especially with like, you know, Evolving Skies or like a Hidden Fates or, you know, a 151 ETB, you're gonna wanna make sure that that is protected and you are not accidentally ripping your product as you are, you know, transporting it to the show. I don't plan on selling these with the ETBs. I'm going to take them out and hand to the buyer. Obviously, let them know beforehand. Sorry, I dropped my phone. But yeah, these are pretty nice just to make sure that, you know, if you're bringing a, you know, freaking $500 whatever ETB to the show, it stays in that, you know, price range. Now, another thing is going to be a, you know, guys, you're just going to have to say it. It's going to be like a fanny pack or a merce. I don't have mine on me right now. Honestly, just get one that you think looks nice because there's a couple reasons. One, you want to make sure your money is on you, right? You don't want like $1,000, $2,000 in cash sitting behind you or, you know, stuffing up your wallet so much. You're going to want ones, you're going to want fives, you're going to want tens. You know, you can't just have just 20s or 100s. So you're going to have a pretty big wad of cash. So you need to have a bigger space for that. And having like a fanny pack or a merce or something that's on you in front of you is invaluable because say you have your money sitting behind you, like on the shelf that I showed earlier. Say you have your money sitting behind you. Every single time you turn around to do cash or something, that gives an opportunity for someone at the table to swipe something. Whether it's in one of the cases or most likely in like a binder on the table. Every time you take your eyes off, it gives them a couple seconds to, not that everyone is going to do that, but there are people out there that are going to take things. So if you could do your transactions in front of you with a fanny pack, or, you know, just say a fanny pack, guys, and you could, you know, do your transaction like that while facing the buyers. That will help out just to cut down on the potential of possibly theft. Unfortunately, that is just something that happens at shows sometimes. You may go, you know, you may go to shows for years and never experience that. You may go to your first show and experience that. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why I recommend like a fanny pack. Another thing I'd recommend is just bringing like old grocery bags, you know, something, especially if you plan on selling sealed. Like if you plan on selling sealed at a show, I do think it's a good idea to at least bring bags to offer to people to, you know, that way, you know, they're not holding like a box of, you know, Pokemon. Oh my God, Pokemon Go, what an amazing set, right? That way they're not just like holding it around, walking around the whole time. You know, you can at least offer them a bag and, you know, help out with like the buying experience with the buyers. Also, it'd be a good way to overcome the objection of, hey, I'm really interested in the Astral Radiance, but I don't want to carry it around for the whole time. I had this happen to me where I was buying something at a show. It was the ETB, I forget which one, and I was like, it was early on. It's like, good price, but I don't exactly want to carry it around. And the guy was like, dude, I'll give you a bag. And I was like, oh, you know what? Now I can't, now I have to take it. So good way to overcome that little objection of sometimes of people being like, oh, I can't walk around with it. I think a little old grocery bag will probably help out. Another thing just to make the table look a little nicer is to get like one of those like cloth table covers that you could put over it, whether it's like a tight fit one that stretches down to the legs at the bottom, or just literally like a freaking one you'd use at a picnic or something. Just something like nice just to like cover the table, cover up the legs, make you just look a little nicer. That's definitely a nice to have. Like, you don't need that at all. And the last item in the nice to have category is going to be like some type, I don't have one yet, is going to be some type of like banner that you could show for your brand. Especially if you plan on in the next section making content, you're gonna want to have something like that. I don't have one yet. I need to get one. But if you plan on attending shows, you want to make sure especially like regular like local shows you plan on going to like every couple months or something. You're gonna want to make sure people recognize your name, your brand. Like, oh, I remember I did a deal from you in the past. Like, thanks. Or they'll go up and maybe offer their collection, and stuff like that, or give you a good price. So some type of banner that you could either use ChatGPT to create, or the image for, or do it yourself in like a free software like GIMP. I've seen ones online where you could like, it put it on the floor and somehow you like lift it up and then it like just stays up somehow. I don't know. I need to get one to see how that works. I don't know how it works, but there's some way where you can get it to where it just stays up. And if you've gone to conventions, you've seen them, like all of the bigger booths are the ones that have content creators with them. They're gonna have like that banner behind them just to really help with brand recognition. And like I said, maybe if you have returning customers from previous shows, or maybe if you're in the future, in the next section, linking YouTube channels, socials, your whatnot, your drips, like your rip and chips, if you're doing stuff like that, you're gonna want to make sure you have your socials behind you. Also a good area to have like QR codes for like Venmo, PayPal, Zelle, stuff like that, if some people won't have cash. So just a banner, nice to have, not a necessity, but something that would just help elevate the experience. All right guys, now we're gonna move on to the content side of things. So these are definitely something where you do not need it at all. But the one thing, literally the one thing I do kind of recommend, maybe in a necessity or maybe a nice to have, is I do recommend having some type of camera to record your experience at the show. One, just to like look back on, like look at like all the crazy stuff. Like, this is awesome. Like trading cards with people, bantering with people, the wheeling and dealing, the yes and no's, like that is awesome. Looking back on that, who doesn't love that? That's one of the reasons. The other reason is for safety. And it kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier with the fanny pack and not turning around as much. If you have a camera, whether it's behind you or off to the side of the table, it just helps record your interactions with people. If something does get stolen, you at least now have a face to the thief, I guess, a face to the thief. You could post it on, it's a local card groups. Does anyone know this person, or look out for this person, or if you see this card, the serial number, sold, like stuff like that. And then also, it can also be kind of like a preventative to theft. If you have a camera in the corner, then you have someone who may want to take something. Maybe they won't now, since now the camera's there, and they'll be a little intimidated by that. So that's the only thing. Obviously you would need a camera for making content, but and I'll get into the one that I'm using, but it's kind of nice just to have one in case you want to cut back on theft, or if it does happen to you, at least you have a face to it. So yeah, so the camera, most important thing, right? If you are going to be making content or vendor POVs, you need a camera. Mine is a Sony a6400. You certainly don't need a camera like this yet, you know, because you do have to buy a lens, and the lens that I have is the Viltrox 20mm f2 8 FE whatever friggin' it's 20mm camera E-mount for the Sony a6400. I like it because it's pretty wide. If you watch other videos on my channel, I have a 50mm camera that I normally put over here, you know, and aim that way when I'm recording my content. I'm sitting in this chair, just, you know, just gaining weight. That camera, it's a little too, or that lens is a little too narrow, and you have to back up the freaking camera like a mile if I wanted to see the whole table. So I like this one because it's a little wide. It's not as high quality as my previous one, but I do like it. You don't need a good camera like this. You certainly don't. Oh, my wife is texting me. Dinner should be done in like 10 minutes. Okay, so we gotta hurry this up. So you certainly don't need a nice camera like this. You could just get like one of those little GoPro things. The next thing that is you're going to need if you're gonna be making content is your camera is going to need you know, either battery recharges or a dummy battery to stay on. Like, you know, you're gonna be charging your phone a lot as well. Oh, maybe the battery should have been in the nice to have. You know what? This actually should have been, this should have actually been in the nice to have. I have a small rig V-mount VB 155 watt battery. It's nice. It's got like a touch screen, not a touch screen, sorry, just a screen on it, displays the percentages. It's got USB-C, USB-A, you know, 12 volt, 8 volt, and then also a D-tap connection as well. And this took quite a while to charge, couple hours. Say you have like a 10-hour show or something, and you have your camera running, you have your phones charging. I think this will last a good while of the time. But in case it does die, I did decide to pick up extra batteries for my Sony a6400. These are going to be the First Power MP battery 3-pack with the charger. My idea would be to plug, you know, to charge everything at home, you know, or find an outlet there to show it, or, you know, charge it to the battery if I need to. But I have 4 extra batteries actually. So say that battery runs out with the dummy battery hooked up to the camera, I should be able to ideally cover the entire show with having a bunch of different batteries already, you know, charged up. That's kind of like up to you to decide how many, you know, depending on what camera you get, how many extra batteries you're gonna get. I know I talked about this dummy battery, but I will get it for you. This is the Newer D-tap dummy battery. All this does is it makes the camera think that this is a battery. So you push it into the camera, and then this is a D-tap connection, and then that'll hook up to the that portable battery that I had earlier. So that'll hook up to it, and this will continuously supply power to the battery. I don't need to tell you, you know, how absolutely annoying or nerve-wracking it is if you know, don't realize that your battery ran out of, you know, ran out of juice, and like 20 minutes later, you look over at your camera, you know, as you're vending, and you're like, oh my God, it hasn't been recording the crazy Charizard first edition deal that I just had. So like, you want to make sure you at least start off with the dummy battery so it gets continuous power, and then eventually once that goes, you know, from the battery, if that does lose juice, you're gonna want to switch over to your just portable ones that you just like pop in and out. Of course, with the camera, you're gonna need a micro SD card. I have the SanDisk 1 terabyte micro SD card. My thought process is if I'm gonna be recording for like 10-12 hours, maybe at a show, who knows, you know, you want to make sure you have enough space for that. The mic that I've been using is the DJI Mic 2. It's really fantastic. I actually really am liking this mic. So if you like the audio of this video, it's literally just with this mic. So unless if I sound like a pig or something, then, you know, trust me, it's not the mic, it's me. It's really nice. It's got a charging case, 2 mics on in case one loses battery. You just pop in the other one. There's a receiver that I have connected to the camera right there that automatically links the audio from this mic into the recording of the camera. This was expensive. It was, I'm not gonna lie, but it's nice when you are planning to record content and edit. The last thing is gonna be just like a tripod for the camera. I just have the Amazon Basics. I'll just throw up the one that I'm using on screen. You know, you're gonna have to set the camera on something. Just get a, you know, cheap tripod. Yeah. I mean, not much to say about that one. All right, everyone. Well, I really hope you. All right, everyone, let me know if you liked the video, if you plan on getting any of this equipment, if there's anything you think I missed for the necessity you like to have, or the content that you think that you should be including in the video. Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe notifications if you're new. Now, with all that being said, Jeppy out.